Please be advised that this presentation is being recorded in the summer of 2022. We will make every effort to keep the information presented in this training up to date. If you are listening to this after a significant amount of time has passed since its recording, you may want to get other information that may be more up to date on SSI and SSDI. Also, nothing in this presentation should be taken as legal advice. Now that we've covered that, welcome to the introduction to SSI and SSDI training. In this training, we will cover what SSI and SSDI are, how they work, who is eligible for these programs, how to apply in order to get these benefits, and then how to keep your benefits if you are approved. We hope you enjoy it and learn some great information. So what are SSI and SSDI? Well, they are both government programs that help individuals cover the costs of essential needs. These programs do have their differences, however, mostly when it comes to who and how they help. But overall, for individuals living with intellectual or developmental disabilities, these programs can make a significant difference in their lives. SSI and SSDI can be confusing. They can be time-consuming and sometimes even frustrating. We hope this training helps you understand the programs and be able to use them to their full capabilities. We're going to break this down a little bit more and talk about the details of SSI and SSDI and really what the key differences are between the two. Let's start with SSI. So SSI stands for Supplemental Security Income. It is an income supplement program that is funded through tax revenues. SSI helps elderly, blind, and individuals with disabilities who have little or no income. That little or no income for SSI is very important. We'll get into that a little bit more in just a bit. SSI also provides cash to assist with food, clothing, and shelter for the eligible individuals. So that's SSI in a nutshell. Now let's look at SSDI. SSDI stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. It is an insurance program that is federally funded by payroll tax contributions. SSDI helps individuals and certain family members that are insured. Insured in this case is not life insurance or health insurance or car insurance, none of that. Insured, when talking about SSDI, is someone who has enough work credits and has worked recently enough and has paid Social Security taxes on their earnings. So we went through those a little fast, but now we're going to break it down a little bit slower and talk about the two differences between the programs, because that's really important when knowing which program you can apply for, which one you should apply for. So what are the differences between the two? The major difference between SSI and SSDI are in the determination process. SSI determination is based on age, disability, and like I mentioned earlier, very important, limited income and resources. Okay, so SSI is really going to look at, does this person have a disability, or if they don't, what is their age? If they do have the disability or they're going by age, what is their income and what resources do they have? SSDI, on the other hand, like I mentioned, is those work credits. Is this person insured? So they're going to look at, does this person have a disability and have they worked enough to be considered insured? So an example I like to use, Mary has a qualifying disability. She is over 18 years old and is currently not working and has never had a job before. So who would she apply for? The answer there would be SSI, because she hasn't worked, she's not currently working, so she couldn't have possibly earned any work credits. So because she doesn't have those work credits, she will not be eligible for SSDI. So in this instance, she would apply for SSI. So what are the differences between the two programs when it comes to eligibility? I've mentioned that SSI looks at the resources and the limited income, while SSDI is looking at how many work credits someone has. But that doesn't really answer everything we need to know. I mean, what is the income limit? What is a work credit? How do we earn work credits? Is there other criteria besides these things that need to be met? These are all really important questions, and we're going to cover them in this next section titled Eligibility. So let's start with SSI. As I previously mentioned, you must be 65 or older, or blind, or have a disability. You must be a U.S. citizen, and you have to have limited income and resources. So what are the income limits and the resource limits? This is what we need to know to see if we're eligible. So the income limits for an individual is $841 per month. That is the max amount of money they can make. And for a couple, that is $1,261 per month. Counted resource limit for an individual is $2,000, and for a couple, it is $3,000. I just use a term there that we haven't gone over yet, counted resources. So SSI, when looking at what resources an individual who is applying has, they're going to look at counted resources and non-counted resources. The counted are what go towards that $2,000 limit. The non-counted do not go towards that $2,000 limit. So what's counted and what's non-counted? Well, things that are counted include cash, financial assets, and anything that can be turned into cash, such as stocks or bonds. Non-counted resources, so these are things that will not go towards that $2,000 limit. Those are the home that the individual lives in, the vehicle they rely on for transportation, and any household goods. Now, a caveat to this is only the one home and the one car. If a person has a second car that they don't rely on for transportation, but that they have, or if they have a second home, those will be counted towards that $2,000 limit. So to really break that down in a simple way, you can make up to $841 per month. And if you have financial assets and cash that are under $2,000, you can be eligible. And on top of that, you're allowed to have a house and a car. All right, so now SSDI. I've mentioned these as well. The individual must have a qualifying disability and have worked recently enough and have enough work credits. But what are work credits and how are they earned? So work credits are based on a total yearly wage. An individual can earn up to 4 work credits in 1 year. So in 2022, when this is being recorded, an individual can earn 1 work credit for every $1,510 in wages. So if we're doing the math there, once an individual has earned $6,040 for that year, they have earned their 4 credits. They can't earn any more credits. They can continue to work and continue to earn money, but that work credit cap is 4 per year. And the amount of money needed to earn a credit, so like I said, in 2022, it's 1,510. But in 2023, it will be different. We don't know that as of now when this is being recorded, but that changes on a year-to-year basis. And so you might be thinking, okay, so 4 credits per year, how many credits do I need total in order to be eligible for SSDI? Well, for most individuals, 40 credits are needed to qualify. However, younger adults may be eligible with less credits because they're younger. If they have that qualifying disability and they have been working and paying into their Social Security insurance and they are still earning those credits, sometimes they can get by with less than 40 credits earned. So let's recap a little bit of what we've covered so far. We've talked about how SSI and SSDI have different qualifications, how one requires work credits and one does not. They look more at the disability and the resources. And we've mentioned that individuals with disabilities can really benefit from these 2 programs. But when we say an individual with a disability, what does that really mean? What does SSI and SSDI consider to be an individual with a disability? That is very important because someone can meet all those qualifications, but if SSI decides that this person does not have a qualifying disability, then all those other qualifications don't really matter as much. And we want you to know this information before going through this whole process. So this next section is the determination section, and we will talk about how does SSI define disability and what process do they use to reach that determination. So how does SSA define disability? To meet their definition of disability, a person must not be able to engage in substantial gainful activity, also referred to as SGA. We'll get into what that means in just a second. So they must not be able to have SGA because of a medically determined impairment that can be either physical or mental and is expected to result in death, or it has lasted or is expected to last in 12 consecutive months. Okay, so there's a lot to unload there. We gave you some terms that we have not discussed before. So substantial gainful activity, what is that? What is medically determined impairment? Let's dive into those and what they mean and how they are involved in this determination process. Okay, so substantial gainful activity. They use this term to describe a level of work activity and earnings. So work in the eyes of SSI is considered substantial if it involves doing significant physical or mental activities or a combination of the 2. So for work to be considered substantial, it has to be significantly physical or significantly mentally active or both. And it does not have to be full-time work to be considered substantial. So this can be part-time work. It can be 10 hours, it can be 20 hours, it can be 30 hours of work, and it can still be considered to fit those guidelines of significantly physical or mental activities. Now, the other word in this is gainful. So there's substantial gainful activity. Gainful is work that may include work performed for pay or profit, work of nature that is generally performed for pay or profit, or work intended for profit, even if a profit is not gained. So the other phrase that came up when we were talking about how SSI does their determination was medically determinable impairment. I'm going to read through their definition and then we'll break it down more. So they define medically determined impairment as a medically determinable physical or mental impairment is an impairment that results from anatomical, physiological, or psychological abnormalities that can be shown by medically accepted diagnostic techniques. The medical evidence must establish that an individual has a physical or mental impairment. A statement about the individual's symptoms is not enough. Okay, that was a lot of information, a lot of words that not everyone may be familiar with. I'm going to summarize that in a very simpler way. So medically determinable impairment, they're really just saying that the individual has a disability that can be diagnosed through accepted medical procedures. To put it even simpler, SSA wants a doctor to show that they have done medical evaluations that have led to a diagnosis. Without proof of the diagnosis, SSA will not qualify that person. So an example of that, Emily is 22 years old and she needs to apply for benefits. She has not worked, so she's going to apply for SSI. She has never had a diagnosis from a doctor, but she was on an IEP when she was in high school. Can she get benefits with that IEP? So the answer there would be no. SSA wants to see specific evaluations done that result in a diagnosis from the doctor. So even though she was getting that extra help when she was in school and they were saying, yes, you're struggling with different activities in school, because she hasn't had that formal evaluation or that formal diagnosis, she will need to get that before she can be approved for Social Security benefits.
So how do we apply for the SSI or SSDI benefits? Well, you can apply online at www.ssa.gov/benefits/disability. You can also call 1-800-772-1213, which is the national number, or you can call your local SSI office to schedule a phone application. The number there will vary depending on which county you're in. And the phone application is very similar to the online application. You will just be answering the questions over the phone, but the questions will be very similar to if you were doing it online. All right, time for the last section of the training. Now that you have applied and have been approved for your benefits, it's time to start doing everything you need to keep your benefits. Some of these only apply to one of the programs, not both. We will make sure to clearly show that what is needed to keep SSI and what is needed to keep SSDI. So keeping SSI and SSDI once accepted. Keep track of all mail and phone calls from SSA. Notify them if any income changes, loss of employment, moving, etc., anything like that. You want to notify them because that could impact your benefits. Keep assets and cash under $2,000. That's very important. If they check your bank statements and it shows that you're over $2,000, that could affect your benefits. Spend downs and able accounts can assist in this process. We'll cover those in a different slideshow, different presentation, but we wanted to mention that as an option for keeping your benefits. All right, time for the quiz section. We have 6 questions for you to answer, and it's just to make sure you're keeping track of your knowledge and knowing the information that was presented. So the first question is, what are the main eligibility factors for SSI? Option 1, disability income and work credits. Option 2, disability and work credits. Option 3, disability income and resources. And number 4 is only disability. Okay, question 2. What are the income and resource limits for SSI? Option 1, $841 per month of income and $2,000 in counted resources. Option 2, $1,000 per month in income and $3,000 in counted resources. Option 3, $200 per month in income and $1,000 in counted resources. Or option 4, there are no income/resource limits for SSI. Question 3, how many work credits can be earned a year for SSDI? Option 1 is 2 credits per year. Option 2, 4 credits per year. Option 3, 1 credit per year. and option 4, 6 credits per year. Question 4, true or false? Only full-time employment can be considered SGA or substantial gainful activity. Question 5, what are the two main differences between SSI and SSDI? Option 1, one is insured program and one is a supplemental program. Option 2, SSDI looks at work credits while SSI looks at income and resources. Option 3, only SSDI requires applicants to have a disability. Option 4, both option 1 and 2 are correct. And the last option is that only option 3 is correct. And question 6, the last question here on the mini quiz. What resources are counted towards the SSI resource limit? Option 1, vehicle. Option 2, house. Option 3, money in bank accounts. And option 4, household goods.
All right, time for the answers now. For question 1, the answer was option 3, disability, income, and resources. For question 2, the correct answer was option 1, $841 income per month and $2,000 of counted resources. Question 3, option 2 is the correct answer. You can earn up to 4 credits per year when talking about SSDI. Question 4, the correct answer was false. For question 5, the correct answer was option 4. Both of option 1 and 2 were correct for that question. And then for question 6, the correct answer was option 3, money in bank accounts.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this training on SSI and SSDI. As mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, please be advised that this presentation was recorded in the summer of 2022. We will make every effort to keep this information presented in this training up to date. If you are listening to this after a significant amount of time has passed since its recording, you may want to get other information that may be more up to date on SSI and SSDI. Also, nothing in this presentation should be taken as legal advice. Thanks again for taking the time to learn about SSI and SSDI. Have a great rest of your day.